Hi everyone, this is Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop, and in this video we're going to look at Geomancy. Geomancy is a form of divination. It's very ancient and it started with using sand. So the geomancer would make marks in sand and then tally up all the different marks to make patterns. Each pattern had a different meaning. And there are 16 patterns that we use in Geomancy. The definition that we're looking at today is number 2. It's the second one on this list here. Okay, there are different types of Geomancy, but we're going to be looking at the 16 symbols, and which originated from earth divination and sand reading. Now, this is also the explanation of Geomancy, so if you're interested in learning more, you can go and study that and find out more resources. This video is more about how to do Geomancy readings using cards and shield and the astrology Geomancy chart. So here's some more examples of sand divination. And again, these are the 16 symbols that we will be using and that we use in Geomancy. Now I've made 16 Geomancy cards to help the geomancer read the chart easier, especially when you have clients. In modern times, it's very hard to get sand and work with sand, whereas we tend to use paper and pen nowadays. So the Geomancy cards are handy and also tidy. Don't want to put sand everywhere. Now with these decks, I designed them, and you can sometimes join 2 decks together or even 3 or 4. Like I said, each deck has 16 symbols, so you can end up having quite a large deck if you put 4 decks together. This is the Geomancy shield chart that we use as well. I make my own version of that, and I make this for my clients, and they can keep it if they like it. Usually takes me about 5 minutes to make them using pen and a ruler. And this is the 12 houses of the zodiac chart, the astrology chart. I also make some that I design on the computer for people that want to have a more of an attractive one that they can keep, and these are examples of that. Now back to our hand-drawn chart. So as you can see, it's got 12 spaces, 12 positions, and this is the astrology chart that we'll be reading after we make the shield. So this is the actual chart that we read from. So using cards, what I do is we shuffle the cards and then we pull out 4. And these will become the mothers. They're called the mothers or the major 4. Okay. Now, in my previous Geomancy video, I explained how to make a Geomancy chart using dice. Now, this system, it's pretty much the same, but instead of dice, we're using the actual cards. Okay. As you can see, it's quick, it's simple, it's easy. When I have a client, this is the quickest method that I've come across. Gets to the point and it gets the answers. Usually people are paying by the minute to get a reading, and they don't want to be wasting time while you create symbols. And so this is like straight to the point. Now we're filling in our shield. So the first card we got is the dragon's tail, which is not a good sign. So normally when you get the dragon's tail first, you actually have to stop the reading and ask a different question or redo it. Some of the traditions say that you shouldn't start off with the dragon's tail. Okay, so, but I'm just going to do this for learning purposes. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to fill in all of the major 4. Yeah, so basically you're not supposed to start with Kuja Draconis, which is dragon's tail. But we're going to keep plodding on. Let's see how we go. So now we've got the majors or the mothers. Now we're going to create the daughters from these. So we take the line, the horizontal line, and then we put them in the vertical spaces. So the top line is 1, 1, 2, 2. So we put them in the verticals, and we continue this pattern. Okay, so the horizontal mothers end up creating the vertical daughters. Okay, usually it takes a few minutes to create this chart. I've found that over time I've gotten quite fast at making them. You know, in the early days I would get confused sometimes and make mistakes, but now I can pretty much do it in a few minutes while the client's watching. Now I also believe that if you make a mistake, that it's meant to be. So if I was to make a mistake somewhere, I would just continue on and read as is, because I believe that the mistake was meant to be. So I don't get too hung up on things like that. Now we're creating the other section of the reading. Continue down. Keep making those dots. Now the even numbers make 2 and the odd numbers make 1. So for example, 3 is 1 and 4 is 2. So even is 2, odd is 1. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to write the shield over to our chart. So all the dots that we've written down in our shield now go into our chart. So this is the chart, and we're writing down the first symbol. And it's dragon's tail. And we keep going until we fill in the whole chart. Okay, so there's the first 4 we filled in. Then we go to the next ones. We go to 2, 5, 8 and 11. 2, 5, 8, 11. And then we do the next one as well, and we finish the chart. Now the chart's finished. Now we do the reading. Now, for example, let's just pretend this is a female client's chart, and she wants to know about her love life in the next 12 months. Now already with the dragon's tail, this is a bad sign, but I would look through the chart to see if there's any other dragon's tail, which there is not. Then I would go to her 5th house, and I would see she has Puella there. Puella's quite fun, pretty, girly, flirtatious. So, and then I would also look in her 7th house, and she has Rubeus in this position, which is not a good sign for love. Rubeus tends to be angry. I could also look at her career, her work. I would go into the 6th house and then the 10th as well. And I notice in the 10th she has Conjunctio, which is about partnerships, and that's also doubling up in the 3rd house, which is communication. So I would have said to this client, you could probably do well with Conjunctio in a career where you are communication type of work. And Albius in the 6th position indicates that she may do well to study or learn more. Albius is about knowledge. Okay, so that gives you an example of how I would read the astrology chart, the Geomancy astrology chart. This is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop.